Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So in today's video, we are going to discuss all about the connective tissues. And before I start off with that, guys, let me remind you that your feedback is really important to me. So please do not forget to comment whether you liked or and understood the video or not. You can just let me know that yes, you have gone through the entire video and you understood it and you liked it. And if you have any doubt, please do not hesitate in sending in your comments and I'll clear your doubts immediately. Also, if you understood the video, please do not forget to like it and share it with your friends as much as you can. So let's start with the connective tissue. So guys, connective tissues basically are considered as the most abundant and widely distributed in the body of animals, especially complex animals, right? So basically, their main function, as the name suggests, connective, that means to connect or link. So the main function is to link and support all the other tissues and organs of the body. So what is the function of the connective tissue? To link or connect and support the tissues and organs of the body. Now as I mentioned that it is the most abundant tissue, they range from soft connective tissue to specialized tissues like cartilage, bone, blood, adipose tissues. We'll study all these tissues as per the NCERT syllabus right now in this video. So basically the connective tissue, what does it has? So that it connects or supports the other tissues and organs. So all the connective tissues except for blood, guys, remember, except for blood, which is also a form of connective tissue. So all the connective tissues except for blood, they secrete basically two different components. One is they secrete fibers, which are made up of structural proteins, which are known as collagen or elastin. So one is they secrete fibers of structural proteins. These fibers provide strength, elasticity, and flexibility to the tissue. So they secrete fibers which are made up of structural protein, which is known as collagen or elastin, and these fibers provide strength, elasticity, and flexibility to the tissue. Now, the second thing is that they secrete polysaccharides. Now, these polysaccharides accumulate between the cell and the fibers that they secrete, and basically, these polysaccharides act as the ground substance. It acts as the matrix in between the cell and the fibers, right? So, connective tissue secrete two things, fibers and polysaccharides. Now, connective tissues are basically classified into three different types. Now, what are these three different types? So, the first type of tissue is loose. It is loose connective tissue. The second type of tissue is dense, dense connective tissue. Third is specialized one, specialized connective tissue. Right? So we have three different types of connective tissues, and what we are going to do is we are going to study all these types one by one. So let's start off with the loose connective tissue. Now, what are loose connective tissue? As the name itself suggests, these tissues have cells and fibers which are loosely arranged, where in a semi-fluid ground substance, in a semi-fluid matrix or ground substance, right? So these are loose connective tissue. Now we are going to study two types of loose connective tissue. One is areolar tissue and the other one is adipose tissue. Both of these tissues are present beneath the skin. Remember, both of these tissues are present beneath the skin. So let's start off with the areolar tissue. Now, the areolar tissue basically serves as a support framework for epithelium, the skin, the outermost layer of our body, which is the skin, which is made up of epithelium. The areolar tissue is just present beneath the skin and it provides support to the skin, right? Now, it contains fibroblasts. So, these are the cells that produce and secrete fibers, and that is why they are named as fibroblasts. It contains fibroblasts, macrophages, and mast cells. So, if you see the diagram of this tissue, let's just see the diagram of this tissue once. So, here, if you see, these are the fibroblast cells, right? You have some plasma cells, you have mast cell, you have macrophage, you have reticular fiber, and you have collagen fiber. So basically, if you see here, this is the cell which is producing the collagen fiber, which is producing and secreting the fibers. So here are the fibers. You have some macrophages, you have mast cell, you have some plasma cell, and then there are reticular fibers as well, again providing support to this tissue, right? So this is all about the areolar tissue. Now the second type of loose connective tissues are the adipose tissue. Now what are the adipose tissues? So again, these are, as I said previously as well, that these are located just beneath the skin, right? Now, these are the tissues which have cells which are specialized to store fat. So, what happens when we, eat our food, when we intake nutrient or calories, is that say we took 500 calories at once, right? During one meal, but the body doesn't consume all the calories at once. It is not, necessary that the body at that particular time will consume the entire nutrient and calories. Now, what happens at that time is the excess calories and nutrients are stored. Now, those are stored in adipose tissues, right? So those are basically converted into fat, and the adipose tissues have fat storing cells, and these fats are stored just beneath the skin in adipose tissues. So if you see the diagram of adipose tissues, you will see that they have a nucleus. So you can see that nucleus is there, then in between two cells. So basically, this is one cell, right? And this is another cell. Here you have another cell. So basically, in between two cells, there are plasma membrane. And then we have fat storage area. So you can see that the fat storage area inside the cell is quite big, right? This entire area inside the cell is nothing but fat storage area, right? So this is the structure of the adipose tissue. Now let's move on to the other type of connective tissue, which are dense connective tissue. Now, again, as the name suggests, dense connective tissues have fibers and fibroblasts. So, all the connective tissues produce fibers, right? Now, here in the case of dense connective tissues, these fibers and fibroblasts are very compactly arranged, very densely present, right? So, that is why they have the name as dense connective tissue. Now, the types of dense connective tissues depends on orientation of these fibers. So, if the orientation of fibers are in a regular pattern, they are known as dense regular connective tissue. If the orientation of these fibers are irregular, then we call it as dense irregular tissue. So let's see what are dense regular tissues first. Now, dense regular tissues, in case of dense regular tissues, the collagen fibers are present in rows between many parallel bundle of fibers. So there are many parallel bundle of fibers. Remember that here the arrangement is in one direction. It is regular. And in between those fibers, we have collagen fibers present, right? So if you see here, now if you see the structure here, what you will realize that all these fibers are in one direction, right? They are running parallel to each other, right? So these in between these fibers, we have the collagen fiber. We have the collagen fiber, right? Now, two examples of this kind of tissue of what? Dense regular tissue are tendon and ligament. I'm not sure whether you're aware of this or not, that tendons attach muscle to bones. And what kind of muscle? Skeletal muscle. So tendons attach skeletal muscle to bone and ligament attach one bone to another bone, right? So basically if you are noticing one thing, this tissue is connecting the skeletal structure of our body, right? It is connecting the skeletal structure of our body. Now, the second type of tissues are dense irregular tissue. So, the difference here is basically, again, they have fibers and fibroblasts. The orientation of these fibers and fibroblasts are differently. Again, it is present in the skin. So, these type of tissues are present in the skin most. So if you see the structure of these tissues here, what you notice is that it has again fibers. These are the fibers, right? But the orientation of these fibers are not regular. It is not in one direction. Again, these are nothing but collagen fibers. But orientation is random. You can see that one is here and the other one is just opposite to this one, right? So these are not running parallel to each other. These are present in the skin. Now, the third type of tissues that we are going to, connective tissue that we are going to study are specialized connective tissue, right? So basically, specialized connective tissues, these are basically special kind of connective tissues, and examples are cartilage, bone, blood. So all these are various kind of specialized connective tissue. Let's start off with the cartilage, right? So cartilage, if we talk about cartilage, the intercellular material of cartilage is solid. So it is solid, but it is pliable and it resists compression. That means that it is solid. Cartilages are solid, but they are flexible. We'll see some examples of cartilage as well, right? So, and since it is flexible, anything that is flexible can be compressed more, right? So it basically resists compression, right? Now, the cells of this tissue, the cartilage cells, are known as chondrocytes. These are known as chondrocytes, and these chondrocytes are enclosed in small cavities within a matrix. Now, this matrix are secreted by the cells itself, right? So these chondrocytes secrete a matrix, and then they have small cavities inside that matrix, and the cells are enclosed by that cavities, right? Now, what happens that in most of the vertebrate embryos, when the embryo is formed, then the embryo has, the most number of cartilage. But as that embryo becomes adult, most of these cartilage are converted or replaced by bones. Now, there are some cartilage present in adults, in human adults, like the tip of our nose. If you just check the tip of your nose, you will realize that it is pliable, it is flexible. You can basically turn it to your left and right, right? Again, the other cartilages are outer ear joint. So the ear that you see, you can basically fold it, right? It's because it is made up of cartilage. And then in our vertebral column and our limbs, our legs and hand. So all the adjacent bones of vertebral column, legs and hands have cartilage in between. Again, it is because we want to be flexible. It is to basically provide flexibility to our vertebral column and limbs, our hands and legs, right? So these are nothing but cartilage. Now, if you see the diagram as well here, you'll see that these are the collagen fibers. So we have the collagen fiber, and then in between those fibers, we have the cartilage cells. Now, these cartilage cells are known as chondrocyte, right? So this is the structure of the cartilage. Now let's move on to bones. Now bones again are hard. Bones again are hard. But the difference between bone and cartilage is that they are non-pliable. They are not flexible, right? So non-pliable ground substance. Now, why is it hard and non-flexible? Because it is rich in calcium salts. So one thing is that it is rich in calcium salts, and then collagen fibers so are any which ways present, right? So these calcium salt and collagen fiber basically give strength to the bone. So the main purpose of bone is to provide structural frame to our body. If you see that the entire frame of your body depends upon the kind of bone that you have. If you have a very broad, structure, you have broad bones. If you have lean structure, you have lean bones, right? So apart from providing the structural frame, it also plays a very important role in supporting and protecting the other softer tissues and organs. Like if you notice, your lungs are completely caged inside bones. Your lungs, your heart, right? So all these softer tissues and organs are protected by these bones, right? Now, is similar to the cartilage cell, which are known as chondrocytes, we have bone cells, which are known as osteocytes. So these osteocytes are present in spaces which are known as lacuna or lacunae, right? So these bone cells, which are osteocytes, are present inside lacunae, right? Now, the limb bones, which are the longest bones, basically the bones of our legs. Since we move on our legs, they are also responsible for bearing our body weight. So the limb bones, the long bones of legs, basically serve as weight bearing function as well, right? And if you see the other thing, so basically, as we studied that the bones of our legs gives us movement, right? So basically, our bones interact with the skeletal muscles to bring about movement. So it is not just the bones alone which give us movement. The bones along with the muscles of our limbs together, they interact, they are joined together, and together they give movement to our body. Now the last thing about bone is that some part of our bones produce something known as bone marrow, and this bone marrow is very very important because bone marrow is the site of production of blood cells. So these bone marrow are very, very important because we have a life cycle of all the blood cells, like that of red blood cell is of 120 days. So these are replenished, these are produced on a regular basis in the bone marrow, right? So if you see the structure of the bone, you will see that there is a central canal, and then you have osteocyte, which are the bone cells which are present inside lacunae, right? So this is the structure of the bone. Now the very last type of tissue that we have to study is blood. Guys, again, we'll study all these structure in detail in later chapters. Here we are just giving an introduction to different kind of connective tissues. So blood is very different from the other types of connective tissues because it is a fluid. It is a fluid connective tissue which has plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. It is a fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Now, the main circulatory fluid. So, basically, blood is the main circulatory fluid which helps in transport of various important substances like even the gaseous exchange that takes place inside our body, right? So these are the main circulatory fluid which helps in transport of various substances. Now if you see the diagram here, you will see that these are red blood cells. These are white blood cells, and these are platelets. Again, guys, we are going to study blood in depth in later chapters, right? So we have finished the different kind of connective tissues, and in the next video we are going to study all about the muscular and neural tissue. So I hope you understood the basics of connective tissue here. Guys, again, remember that we are covering the syllabus that is present in NCERT. So all the in-depth, the all the syllabus that is given in NCERT, we are covering that because we are right now running a NCERT series, right? So I hope you understood the video, guys. Please do not forget to give comments whether you like the video or you have any doubt. If you have any doubt, please do not forget to mention it in the comments, or you can also message me over WhatsApp, and the WhatsApp number is given in the description of the video. And please do not forget to like the video. If you are new, do subscribe to the channel for all the updates, and please do share it with all your friends. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.